Today I wanted to talk about a phenomenon that has emerged over the last few years amongst the Kenyan elite. Now, 2 days ago or 3 days ago, a video was leaked of a senior politician, and maybe you saw it, maybe you did not. Anyway, the contents of the video was this. The senior politician was in his bed, completely naked, and a video was taken of him from head to toe. And then it was leaked, in quotes, online. Now, if you notice, over the last few years, many politicians have released nude videos online. And in each and every case, they claim that it was a leak, that it was unintentional. Now, let me ask you, in your personal life, have you ever leaked naked videos of yourself online? Ever? Even once? You have social media, right? So how come you've never leaked anything online, but they seem to be leaking things online all the time? So I wanted to discuss, why are they taking off their clothes in public? See, something is going on. A lot of you may dismiss this as just one of those things that happen. But, when something happens once, you say, fine, that was just happenstance. Okay, it happened. If it happens twice, okay, fine, it's a coincidence. If it happens multiple times, it's a trend. If it continues happening, there's an agenda, right? So we look for the pattern in behavior to see whether there's something going on. Now, once you take all this information and you link it with other information that we know, you'll clearly see what's happening. And I don't want to go really far with this, because some of these things, it escalates. It becomes a very long story. I want to keep this very short. And so I will skip a lot of relevant things that may be associated with what is going on, just for the sake of keeping this brief. Now, we do know that many of our elite are becoming, they're joining the cult of the Luciferian cult. Many of them are Freemasons, as you probably know. Now, we were okay with them being Freemasons as long as they didn't bring that into the public sphere. But now, increasingly, they are becoming more and more bold to bring their religion into the public sphere. Now, Luciferianism is a religion, and many members of the elite are members of that religion. Now, I don't want to go deep into what that religion is and why they're joining. All I can tell you for a fact is that many of them are members of that religion. And we know that one of the instructions is to maneuver the society, because it is known that Kenyans are very conservative. Countries where the majority of people live in small, rural, isolated places tend to be very conservative. Now, they're trying to move and social engineer the country into a more broader acceptance of Luciferianism, because that is supposed to be the emerging, new world religion, according to the UN. Not according to me. According to the UN, when you look at the UN documents, they state explicitly that in the new system that they are creating, everyone will have to accept Luciferianism as a religion. Go read the documents. I'm not making it up. I'm not lying, and I'm not exaggerating. Those are their exact words. And so, we know all these people who are associated with the UN, the people who get recruited into very senior levels, they usually have to go through an initiation, as it were. Now, it is bleeding over into our local politics, so that cult has now opened a branch in Kenya, and they've recruited a lot of senior members of the country. And one of the tenets of that religion, just the same way you are told in Christianity that you have to make a public declaration of your loyalty to Jesus, as the Christ, right? Also in Luciferianism, you have to make a public declaration of your loyalty to whatever they're worshipping. And how do you do that? They have several rituals that we know about. And one of their major rituals that you may get to see is called the public humiliation ritual. That you have to be humiliated in front of the entire world. And not just get humiliated, you must also, the humiliation ritual must also include traumatizing children. Never forget that. Trauma to children is a major, major deal. It's a very big deal in that religion. You have to traumatize the children. And so, one of the ways that they do that is to take off their clothes in public. Okay? Now, once they've gone through that ritual, then they can be promoted into more power. So when you see them, the elite members and the entertainment media, taking off their clothes in public, that's what is happening. And so I keep on asking you as an electorate, why do you vote for people who are Luciferian and you're not? And why should the country be ruled by a tiny group of Luciferians while the vast majority of us are not? And the issue with this is that they are getting initiated to obey the Mzungu, because the Mzungu is at the head of that church. You see, that's the problem, because now it now goes into treason, because in whose interest are they going to be making decisions? If your top rulers are under oath to obey a Mzungu in a foreign country because they belong to some cult, in whose interest are they going to be making decisions? Are they going to be making decisions in our best interest or in the interest of the Mzungu? Now, you very well know that the historical pattern of Kenya is that all decisions, all government policies are put in place to protect the economic interests of the West, right? And so instead of us getting more and more free of the West, more and more of senior politicians are joining cults that are dedicated to obeying cult leaders in the West, which means we are not getting more free, we are getting more and more bound. So that now, now we are being ruled by basically people who are committing treason. How can you take an oath to a foreign cult and you want to rule over us? We should be ruled by people who are taking an oath to us, not people who are taking oaths to foreigners. So you will see this pattern of them taking off their clothes in public, having to go through that public humiliation ritual more and more and more. You'll keep on seeing it. You also saw Eric Omondi taking off clothes, in public. And what was important was that he was within a group of boys. Boys who are younger than him. So we are talking about pedophilia. Right? That's the message that is being pushed. Did you see the political leadership say anything about that? You never saw them say anything about that. Why? Why? Because they are part of that. You understand? They are all in it together. So they pretend not to see. And what is bizarre is that you, as a population, also pretend not to see. You laugh it off. Yet you can see they're corrupting us more and more and more. Every single taboo, they are breaking it in public. And then they are pushing this filth to the children in order to launch that religion. So your children are being pulled from under you, and you don't stand up and say anything or fight back. You laugh it off. And so they're socially engineering the entire population of Kenya to break every single taboo. That's why you have seen there's an outbreak of violence. There's an outbreak of murder after murder. Every single thing, things that we've never had before in our lives are now happening in Kenya. And many people are asking, why is this happening? And I always think to myself, like, are you kidding me? What do you mean, why is this happening? Can you not see that a fish rots from the head? That the corruption starts from the top? It starts from the political and media elite. That's where the corruptions begin. So once you break down taboos, And like a taboo is like a fence. And once you breach the fence, that's it. Because we say, like, a fence is like a chain, and a chain is as strong as the weakest link. So once you break a very long chain at one spot, that entire long chain becomes useless, right? It's just like a dam. If you drill a hole in a dam, if I don't care how strong the dam is, that single hole will render the entire dam useless, and the water will escape, isn't it? So once you break one taboo, you've broken all taboos. If you break one law, you've broken all laws. You understand? You cannot be violating sexual norms of a country and not expect to violate other norms. It's the same norm. The same sense of right and wrong. Whatever tells you not to murder someone also tells you not to rape a child. Isn't it? So when they push pedophilia, like Eric Omondi was pushing pedophilia and pushing cross-dressing, and with the full approval of the elite, that's why he's never arrested. There's almost no pushback from the elite because the elite is part of it. The elite is now, the political elite of Kenya is now producing what we can call pornography. I want you to think about that. Look at the number of governors, the number of senior politicians that have produced nude videos, and they leak them online, where the median age is 22. You understand? So the rot is coming from the top, is not coming from the bottom. It is the top that is now Luciferian, that is trying to influence the rest of the country to go in that direction, because those are their instructions from whoever is their boss in London. And so basically we're in trouble because we are now, basically ruled by evil. And what is bizarre is that majority of you continue to support them. And I always find that to be very strange. I don't understand the obligation you feel towards these people for you to support them. And they are working it on both ends. They are working on the young boys, and they're also working it on the young girls. You can see the sort of musicians that they're promoting. All these things that they're doing, I'm telling you, each and every one of these people, whether you want to believe me or not, whether you think I'm exaggerating or not, I am telling you, many of them really are Luciferian. I'm not exaggerating. At some point in my life, I used to work in media. Yeah, and I met many of these people. And personally, they are as corrupt. And when you say corruption, we don't mean theft of state resources. I mean corrupt. You understand? Someone who's corrupt, wicked. They are beyond what you can imagine. This is just scratching the surface. And that's why you see we have all these perennial problems in Kenya, because once the elite class is completely corrupt, and I mean on a personal level. These are people, like, you go for a meeting and you make a mistake. You go with your 12-year-old daughter, maybe to even a party, and they're there, and you turn your back for 5 minutes. Someone is trying to sleep with your 12-year-old daughter, and it's like they are totally out of control. That's how bad the situation is. So, and this normally happens in a country, when corruption becomes a way of life, or when theft of state resources is seen as a way into tremendous wealth, because there are no consequences. If the system is a system built upon impunity. When that happens in any country, not just Kenya, in any country, when politics becomes a vehicle of gaining vast wealth without being held accountable, it tends to attract the worst elements in society. The worst of the worst of the worst. All the conmen, the pickpockets, the murderers, the assassins, the prostitutes. The worst elements in society begin to gravitate towards politics. Not because they care about politics, but because it's a means to achieve whatever ends they would have. The bank robber discovers that instead of robbing the bank and risking to get shot, try and get elected. You see? And so over time, the entire political class becomes a class of criminals. Like in normal, regular society, this class of people would be the criminal class, in and out of jail. But in a third world country built upon impunity, that class of criminals becomes the ruling elite. So that if you go as a normal person, and most normal people, and when I say normal, I mean a regular person, if you find yourself in politics and you're a regular person, you're not a criminal, you don't have criminal intent, you don't have a criminal mind, and you find yourself with these people, you discover how out of place you actually are. Because it keeps on hitting you that these people are actually criminals. Like, these are actual criminals ruling the country. Actual criminals. For real, for real. Like, I remember there was a time we went for a campaign. And the guy we were campaigning for, so we went for the meeting. It was a huge rally. There were many people. So he stood up to give his speech before me. Like, I only spoke for like 2 minutes, to promote him. So he stood up to talk. And he said some things that really shocked me. First of all, he claimed that he had a wife and he had 3 children. So he said as a father, he understands what other parents are going through in the crowd. And the people were happy in the crowd. And what was bizarre is that he did not have a wife or children. I was like, why would you lie about such a thing that we can verify in 2 minutes? So after doing the political thing for a while, I discovered that the people who are coming up to try and rule the country, they are truly criminal, like in a very real sense. And many of them are out of their mind. A lot of them are certifiable, like people who should be in an insane asylum. Those are the people coming up, becoming candidates, wanting to become an MP and governor and things of that nature. People who are severely mentally dysfunctional. And so we are in trouble. That's what I can tell you. We're in trouble. And what puts us in trouble is your undying loyalty to the political class. The fact that you feel the need to support them year after year after year. And I never understand the hold they have on your mind. Like I always say, I am never loyal to any political leader at all. My position is always the same, and I've said this again and I will repeat it. A politician is like toilet paper. Use once and throw away. You owe them nothing. So hopefully, come next year, when it's time to vote, you will vote in new people. I know they'll be just as criminal as the people who are there right now. But maybe we'll have a few good ones entering. But if you keep on regurgitating, these demented criminals, we will continue having the severe problems that we have.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Kenya's time has come. Our time has come. Your time has come. A time to succeed and not fail. A time to grow wealth and not poverty. A time to go up and not down. It's time for you to stop walking and drive your car. Stop renting and buy yourself a house. It's your time to get blessed. Join the CCV movement and together let us kick poverty and unemployment out of Kenya. Become a member today. Donate what you can. And remember that the CCV is the only political organization in Kenya that is squarely built upon Christian values, unlike the rest. We'll see you next time. Thank you.